Hi makers, and welcome back to the channel. So, a little background about this cardigan. I have made one like this before, just I did not make a tutorial. I don't know what I was thinking, but then Anna happened to point that out and asked for a tutorial, so I decided, hey, why not? So I decided to make one just a little bit shorter than the original, and I decided to just add in these little stripes because I thought they looked cute. Now, we do have a free pattern, obviously, available in 9 different sizes. Find the link in the description box. Also, there is a link to the paid version, which, by the way, there is a 40% discount, so be sure to catch that before it runs out. The materials will also be listed below. Let's get into the tutorial. So for this cardigan, I will be using a 4.5mm hook for the body and a 3.5 for the band. So to begin, grab your yarn, your DK weight yarn, make that slip knot just like that. And I have already gotten started on the main body, so I will just be doing a miniature version just to get you started on your size. I'm doing a size small in this tutorial. So for other sizes, remember we have the free written pattern available on our website. Be sure to check that out. So for the miniature version, I'm just gonna chain up 15, 15, blocking off that last chain that we just made. I'm gonna add on another one to turn. So as usual, we'll be working into the back bumps of our work, and for this cardigan, it's gonna begin with a decrease. So to do that, we're gonna yarn over into the second chain from the hook, insert your yarn, hook, pull up the yarn. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Now you're gonna locate the second chain, since we are doing a decrease, of the half double slip stitch. Now that we've got 4 loops, you're just gonna slip stitch through just like that. And now for the rest, we will be just doing regular half double slip stitch, just like that. And you will notice that I tend to use 2 strands of yarn because I do not have access to proper yarn where I'm staying, sadly. But once we grow, we'll be ordering from I'll be ordering online. So after you've reached the bottom and you've got your 10 chains left, you are gonna pick up that hook, bring about your 3.5. Of course, I don't have 10 chains down there, but we're just assuming you do. Yarn over, and you'll be continuing just as normal, still doing the half double slip stitches, just with a smaller hook. I believe I left 5 chains at the bottom for the miniature band, and then to the last one I'm going to go in with a half double slip stitch as normal, just like that. After, just going to do a chain of 1 and turn. Now to get the knit look, it's because we're working into the back bumps, so into the first stitch, back bump only, back loop, sorry. And we're assuming this is our number 10. I'm just gonna grab a stitch marker and pin it right in there. And then I will be going back to my 4.5mm hook, and I'll be crocheting my way back up. Just like that, remembering that we are doing a decrease at the top of our work. So once you've got 2 stitches left at the top, we'll be doing our decrease into there and into there, and then, oops, sorry, let me do that again. Hold on. So into the last 2 chains left, we'll be going in with our decrease yet again. Chain 1 and turn, and then with that decrease yet again. So you're going to do this decreasing for the number of rows that you require. For the size small, we're only decreasing for a total of 23 rows. So after you are done with your 23 rows, obviously it's going to be ending at the bottom since it's an odd number. And all of you should be ending at the bottom. We're going to then begin with an increase row, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do that just in a second. So let me just finish this row all the way down, and then I'll meet you once I've got one more chain at the top so that we can do our increase in there together. So pause the video, finish the number of rows that you need to finish, and then get started on your increase row, but don't finish. Meet me when you've got that one more stitch so that we can work into that together. So I have worked up and I've got that one more stitch to work into, and in there I'm going to be placing 2 half double slip stitches, just like that. That's my first increase. Now to begin on the next row of increase, we're going to chain 2. Remember, we've been chaining 1 the entire time, but right now we'll be chaining 2, and then into the second chain from the hook is where our first increase will be taking place, and then back loops for the rest. And just like that. And you'll be working your way down. Once you get back up to the top, you'll be placing 2 half double slip stitches into that last chain, and then chaining 2 into the second chain, working your increase just like that. I mean, I know this looks funny, this looks weird. So let me get you the main piece so that I can show and explain everything properly so it makes sense. Okay, so I've got my camera as high as I can get it, but I still cannot fit the whole thing in because we're going to work the entire body in one piece. So what we did, we began by making that long chain, which was followed by the rows of decreasing. So these were the 23 rows that I did the increasing. And then it's going to be followed by 23 rows of increasing, which are these rows right here, followed by 23 normal rows, which are these right here. So this is the back. This, and this at the back. After the 23 normal rows, you would then again decrease 23 rows, followed by an increase of 23 rows, because after all this, we're now going to just close it up like this. Because of following this, we're going to be working the collar. So after we close it up like this, we're going to connect to this, but it's going to make sense when we get there. And then after that, we'll start working on our sleeve. As usual, we connect the yarn here and then work the sleeve right onto the body. So I think that makes a lot more sense. So you go on, do your rows of increasing of 23. Whatever number you decreased is going to be the very same number of increasing, normal, decreasing, and increasing here again. So you go on, increase the number of rows that you need, 23 if you're doing a small, 23 normal rows, 23 decreasing, and 23 increasing. After, so you're going to pause the video and I'll meet you right after so that we can both get started on the color. So I made the mistake of cutting the yarn after I had ended here. You don't want to do that. Don't do that. Leave that yarn on there because now we're going to begin working the collar. But it's fine if you did, it's absolutely fine. We're just going to work over this tail and make do. So you want to place stitch markers on the 1st and 23rd of the back portion because it's going to make it easier for us to work those single crochets as we're working our collar around. So still with my 3.5mm hook, we'll be going around with single crochets because now we want to make room for where we'll be working the collar. So I'm gonna have to be working over these 2 strands. If you don't have to do this, lucky you, honestly, because I've just made life difficult for myself. Let me just connect. There we go. Chain 1, and right in there I'll go in with my first single crochet. So I'm gonna go into the 10 stitches with 10 single crochets. That's 2, 3, and finally 10. Gonna grab my stitch marker and place it into there, just like that. Bring back my 4.5, and I'm gonna go into the rest with a single crochet. So obviously I'm not gonna have you sit here and watch me do that. I'm gonna pause the camera and finish this off. So I'll meet you once I've placed my last single crochet at the very top, so that I can show you what we do next going around. So here I am. I have just reached the end, the top of my work. So now to connect to the stitch marker, which is now the back portion for size small, this is for size small only, we're going to be doing a chain of 4. This chain of 4 will be used was going to help us as we're working. This will be the shoulder part of our cardigan as we're working the sleeve. So after you've done that, you want to connect with your the slip stitch to this part where the stitch marker was, just like that. I'm just gonna do that chain to act as a single crochet right in there. Replace my stitch marker so that I know this is the stitch I'm gonna have to work into. And now working into the side bumps, because I know this is a row. So this chainy part, the braided part, the ribbed part, that's a row. In between the ridges, right here, that's a row. And back to the ribbed, that's another row. So that's how you're gonna be able to tell these apart. And also you can just count to 23, just making sure that you have 23 single crochets for this section. So you go on doing that. I'll meet you here so that we can do another chain of 4 and connect with the other front portion. So here we are. I've reached the other stitch marker. Doing my chain up of 4, grab my front panel, and I'm just gonna connect into that first with just a single crochet, just like that. And then I'm gonna continue all the way downwards, placing single crochet all the way until I get to the where the band begins. Switch back to the 3.5, finish off, chain 1, and then I'll meet you right so that we can start working on the band together. So I have reached the end, and I'm just gonna do a chain up of 1 and turn. So from here on, for the rest of the collar, this is us working the collar by the way, we're only gonna be using the 3.5mm hook, and we'll be using the slip stitch throughout. So this sweater doesn't have any buttons, so there will be no need of making any buttonholes or whatever, unless you want to add buttons. That's up to you. And you can make the collar as thick or as fine as you want. I'm probably just going to do 6 rows. So this is all I'm going to do. So once you get to the chain area, you want to work in the back bumps only of your chain, just as we were doing with the foundation chain. So you're going to do that going all the way around for a total of your desired number. I'm going to do 6 rows. And then after you're done, you're going to chain up, chain 1, cut the yarn, so that we can now get started on the sleeves, finally, to finish off the collar. To finish off the cardigan, I mean. So let me meet you right back after I have completed my collar. So after you're done working your collar, which I did my 6 rows, as I said I would, you're going to connect your yarn at the underarm section right here. Go around placing single crochets into every row, side row of the half double slip stitches that we did. After you finish, where you began, you're just going to slip stitch into the first single crochet you made. Excuse me. And make the chain that's required for your size to start working on the sleeve. For the size small, I believe it should have been 65, and that's exactly what I've done right here. So what we're doing as we're working upwards on our sleeve, we're going to be increasing into the stitch as we're connecting to the sleeve opening. We're going to be placing increasing. However, to begin the row, we're going to grab our 3.5mm hook and we're going to begin with slip stitches. But before we go there, you're going to grab another stitch marker so that we can place here at the collar. So remember, we have 4 and we made 4 single crochets. So into the third, I'm just going to place this stitch marker, because into these 2 we'll still be doing the increasing. Like I said, when we're working our way up, as we're connecting to the sleeve, we're going to be placing an increase into the last stitch. So we'll be increasing all the way until this stitch right here. Now into the stitch that we just placed the stitch marker, we're going to be doing decreasing from the other side. It will make sense yet again when we get there. So let me just grab my 3.5mm hook and get started on the row with you. I already did my chain 1 to turn, so into the second chain from the hook, I'm going in with my first slip stitch, second, all the way up to 10. And then I'll grab that stitch marker, place it into my 10th, lay aside my 3.5 and bring my 4.5, still in the back bumps, go on with my half double slip stitch. So I'm going to go on doing this half double slip stitch all the way until I've got that one more chain to work into, where I will meet you so that we can do our increase together. So I'm about to work into the last chain that I made. So right in there, I'm going to be putting in an increase of a half double slip stitch by placing 2 half double slip stitches into that very last chain. Now to connect to the rest of the sleeve, you're going to find the next available single crochet, which is this one for my case. I will slip stitch right in there, just like that. And then my next available, that's to connect the row that we were just working, this one right here. To chain 1 or to begin a new row, we'll slip stitch into the next available single crochet, and then I'll turn the work to work down again. So now we're still doing increasing, remember, up until this stitch marker right here. These 2 V's that I see right here, these 2 stitches are the slip stitching that we did. So meaning this is our first stitch right here. So into that first stitch, we'll be going in with our first increase, just like that, and working downwards just as we've been doing. So remember, as you're going up into the last stitch, place an increase, slip stitch into 2 single crochets, turn, and into the first stitch going downwards, you also place an increase. So you are going to keep on doing that all the way until you reach a stitch marker. The last increase you're going to make is this one here, because from here we're going to start doing decreasing. I will meet you at this stitch marker right there. So I have arrived at that stitch marker, and I am just going to slip stitch to begin that new row, which is going to be our first row of decreasing, and turn the work. So to decrease, as we've been doing before, we have to half double slip stitch into 2 stitches together. So that's the first, and we'll insert our hook into the other one and slip stitch through all of them, just like that. So pretty much from here on, going all the way down to where the to where your armhole is gonna end, we're just going to be doing decreasing. And just like that, just as you would do a normal regular decrease. That's how we're going to be finishing off this this cardigan. So you go on do that, sew the sleeve close, and repeat the very same thing for the other side, and then I'll meet you so that we can do the straps around the cardigan. So for the stripes going around, I'll be using this worsted weight yarn, and still using my 4.5mm hook. So you're just going to make a slip knot and connect your yarn from the bottom. So we're assuming, because I'm just carrying on from the bottom, we're assuming this is your slip knot right here. And I'm separating these by 10 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right here. We're gonna connect that slip knot and pull that through. So the first line was just after the 10 rows, so the 11th row from the bottom, that's where my first row of this is. Now what I'm doing, you want to try and be as straight as you can. I wanted to do the very same thing for the sleeves, but looking at time and how long this is and how it's so hard to get it into straight lines, it's easier to do this with when you're working with a single crochet stitch. But with this half double slip stitch is a bit hard. Let me just get this as straight as I can, so you can see. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is going to the very same stitch of the row. This is what I'm saying, it's a little challenging to make it as straight as you can, but you want to make sure you're being as straight as you can. So in the very same line, I'm going to go into the other row and just pull up the yarn from underneath, just like that. Then I'm going to locate the opposite, which is this one right here. I'm going to insert my hook through there. What I'm doing from underneath is just hooking that yarn and pulling it through like I'm making a chain, and then I'll locate the next stitch and make a chain from underneath, just like that. And that's all I'm going to keep doing. And I'm jumping the middle stitch because it's easier, or for me anyway, it's easier for me to make the lines as straight, the stripes as straight as I can if I go from the ribbed row to the next ribbed row. There we go. Then that's all that I'm going to be doing, and I'm just going to be doing a total of 3 stripes for this cardigan. And there we go. So I'm going to continue doing this, going all the way around this cardigan, and after I'm done with my row, I'm just going to chain 1 and cut, and then I'll weave in all the ends. And if you want to repeat this for your sleeves, then be my guest. I'm just going to be ending here for this tutorial. So I'm going to go on doing this, and I will meet you once I am done. So I just finished the end of the row, so I'm just going to take the hook, insert it from underneath, wrap that, and pull it through. From underneath, I will pull that through, chain 1, grab my scissors, cut off, and there we go. We are done with our cardigan. This is what the inside's looking like. You can see that some of the lines were getting a little crooked, like right here or here, but I tried my best to keep them as straight as I can. And if it looks a bit wonky on the outside, that's fine. I'm sure it won't show as much. But that's about it. That's how we make our cardigan. I hope you found this tutorial very useful. Be sure to share it. Help us grow this channel, and give it a big thumbs up. Also, comment what color you're thinking of making yours in. Until next time, bye.